And so first up is the chairman of our Amah Mutsun tribe, Valentin Lopez. He is the, yes, yay! Many of you know him, and so with all my heart, I want to say thank you, Val, and invite him up to speak to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your support of the tribe to save its most sacred site from being mined and having 4 sacred mountains torn down, to having huge pits 200 feet deep dug into the ground that holds the cultural resources and it could very well hold the remains of our ancestors. For what? For what? The Debt Acquisition Corporation of America, they acquire land that is that's in distress, that is oftentimes in bankruptcy. They try to purchase it as cheap a price as they can, and they look for ways to monetize it. And then, once they've done that, they will sell it. And that's what they're doing here at Juristac. What they have found is that Juristac holds sand, a lot of sand. And so they want to tear down our most sacred site and sell the sand and sell the gravel. And they can make a lot of money. It's estimated that they can make 3 to 4 times the amount of their money in a matter of a few years. And they have a lot of, and because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of lawyers, and they have a lot of opportunity to throw resources against us. They also have the county regulations in their favor. Can you believe that? The county regulations allow the destruction of the most sacred site of a Native American tribe. And it's not just the Amah Mutsun sacred site that has happened. When you look at the Bay Area here, this right here was one of the most populated areas north of Mexico City at first contact. At first contact. What signs are left here of them? What is here? The people have been destroyed. They've been forgotten and erased from history. And they're fine with it. The regulations are fine with that. We can't allow that. We can't allow that. Why do those regulations allow that? If this right here was a Catholic site, if this right here was a Jewish or Muslim or any other religion, they would never even consider doing that. Could you imagine them taking we only want 8%. What's the big deal here? We only want 8% of the Vatican. We only want 8% of Mecca. What's the big deal here? That is a big deal. It's a big deal to our tribe, and luckily it's a big deal to everyone here. And we thank you and we love you for that. Our history on these lands, as you know, was very brutal. Very, very brutal. Those missions right there, that was just a slavery camp and a labor camp. In Mission San Juan Bautista, for example, they would bring the Indians in by the thousands. In 23 years, is my math right? 24 years maybe, 19,481 Indians were reported as dying in those first 20-some years. Almost 1,000 a year. Why doesn't anybody care? Why isn't that history ever spoke about or taught? As I said, our history has been erased. And now people create these big fantasy histories about who our people were and who the people that were here. They say that, they want to equate us more to cave people than they do to human beings. As a matter of fact, there was a big argument within the church itself. Are we human beings or not? One of the mission priests wrote that we are more closely related to a species of monkeys than we are to humans. And that person was heading up one of the missions. Can you believe that? Today we're telling the truth. Today we're telling the truth. That brutal history of slavery, of genocide, of rape, of immense brutality. It's that physical abuse has ended, but the mental, the psychologically, the spiritual abuse, that has never ended. That's what we live with every day. And the evidence of that spiritual and cultural domination and destruction is being told right there at Juristac. Right there at Juristac. I asked you about, in this area, there's over 1,000 cultural and sacred sites within the greater Bay Area. Over 1,000 sites. How many can you name? Is your house built on one? Is your school, your city buildings, your highways built on one? The answer is probably. Probably. That's never told. Let me tell you what we'd like to do with Juristac. We'd like Juristac to be conserved. We'd like all of Juristac to be conserved. Juristac is our relative. When they talk about that 8%, I say it's a relative. Our relatives, imagine a child is a relative. When they ask 8%, we say, what 8%? Do you want the arm? Do you want the leg? What part of that 8% do you want? We say no. Our vision for Juristac is to have it conserved, and then to find a way, and we'll be asking for the people here to help support us, find a way that our people can return to that park, and have that park be recognized as a tribal park. A tribal park. That we can restore the sacredness to the lands first. That's the most important part, returning that to the sacredness. And then to restore the native plants. The same way our people suffer from the contemporary diets, having the diabetes, the obesity, and all the other ills we have, wildlife is having the same thing. The 96% of the landscapes you see are not native plants. Those are invasives. And those plants are being forced, and those animals are being forced to eat those same invasive plants. We have to restore the native plants for the health of wildlife. And we got to bring back the wildlife. That's our vision for Juristac. Our vision for Juristac is to bring back the elk, and to make sure that we have the wildlife corridors open and secure so that the animals can travel freely from Santa Cruz Mountains to south to the Gabalan Mountains and west of the Diablo Range. We can't do that alone. Our tribe cannot do that alone. We need help. We need prayers. We need support. We need people standing up and coming out. And that's what you have done today. This is a rally. Our ancestors told us that, the elders have told us that we will not hold demonstrations. We will not, do anything negative. This is ceremony. This is talking the truth. The speakers that are be coming up, they're going to be sharing that truth. And we ask you to listen. And we ask you to listen to those words with your mind, with your body, with your heart, and with your spirit. Oh.